Good morning, everybody, and sorry for the slight delay. There's a couple of movement changes that have been thrust at me at the very last minute. Okay, we'll start off with the synoptic chart then. This was midnight last night. Quite a bit of rain, as you're probably aware. And if I run that through to midday today, the fronts have pretty well moved now into Northern Europe, leaving in as a northwesterly airflow throughout the day. It should be a very pleasant day, actually. If I look at the cloud, we can see that there's a frontal system now. It's all disappeared, and we're actually in a very pleasant little area of high pressure over the country. Uh, so there's no rain forecast in the next 2 hours, certainly for where we are now. And if I run through the Met Office predicted rain forecast, there's some showers out over the East Anglia. Obviously, the residual of that frontal system, but where we are is going to be pretty fine. So Odium, Taft, then they're giving us a 10 knot northwesterly, few clouds at 1800. With a 40% probability between 9 and 11 scattered clouds at 2000. And if I look at Farnborough, they're saying 5 knots from the northwest, few at 3000, with a 30% probability between 9 o'clock and 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, broken at 1400. Spot winds are giving us northwesterly, 20 knots, 15 knots further south, and windy's giving us a 9 knot northwesterly on the ground pretty well for the day. Local area forecast is going to be nice, cumulus throughout the day. Only going to be about 6 degrees on the ground. Winds 10 knots northwesterly thereabouts. Some gusts earlier on and abating as the day goes on. GFS is giving us a max temperature today of 7 degrees and a dew point down at 2. Latest view outside the window, very pleasant out there. This is the lower strata Q that the Odium and Farnborough are giving around about 1100, but that's going to form into Q a bit later. And if we look at the Met Office for Lasham, it's giving us just under 5 degrees at the moment, 2 degrees dew point, and winds northwesterly 10 knots. I'll put this next screen on. This is showing the accumulated rainfall over the last 24 hours, 10 mil of rain. The grass is pretty well unusable at Lasham today, only for emergencies. Okay, on the brighter side, Top Meteo is giving us blue thermals starting around about 12 o'clock, turning into cumulus about 12:30, and maybe even going as high as, I don't know, 3,500 feet perhaps, and then lasting probably till around about 4 o'clock. Skysight is giving us a similar thing. We've got the lower strata Q at the moment, but Q rising to about, this is saying about 2,500 feet. I think it's going to be a little bit higher than that. And pretty well the winds are, northwesterly, 10 knots thereabouts. And cross section for Skysight is showing the cloud rising. All this area here is soarable, 1.9 knots. It's saying at the around about 1:30 today, to a height of about 2,500 feet. Skysight is saying, Top Meteo is saying a little bit higher. If you look at the local NOTAMs then, 20 is RAT for UAS only, down at Oakhanger. 24 is live firing at Winchester, surface to 1,100 feet. 25 is flare firing at Rushmore, surface to 1,500 feet. 28 is flare firing at Farnham, to 1,500 feet. 30 and 31 danger area 132, good old Ash Rangers active. One says 850 feet, one says 1,100 feet. 32 and 33 are illuminants at Blackwater. It's going to be 10 o'clock this evening, so they're not going to be a factor. And we'll just stretch our legs a little bit. 34 is going to be paragliding at Coombe Gibbet up to 3,000 feet, and 37 is a RAT UAS only at Welford. So operationally today, we have quite a few issues to try and get our head around. Start off with the cross sections loading, which is really nice. It is actually going to be a very pleasant day. Dry, which is going to be good for the grass maybe tomorrow, but we're going to struggle with it a little bit today. They're giving northwesterly wind 10 knots with the Q base actually getting to about 3,500 feet, which contradicts sky sight, but doesn't contradict top meteo. Okay, we have a Beach 200 departure at 9:30, which we need to wait for. And I've just been informed by Chris Marin at the A319, which was due to go at 12:30, not confirmed yet, is now going to go at the same time. So we just need to wait for them two movements before we actually set up on the airfield. It'll be much better that than get out for 2 hours and have to come off the runway again at 9:30 for the departure. Okay, it's going to be generally a very nice day. Northwesterly breeze with Q forming to base around about 3,000 foot by midday. Sawball, I reckon, from about 10:30 airfield. Grass, very, very wet. You may need to use a grass today because the runway is going to be blocked, but just be careful. And I'll give you a bit of advice on the best place. So definitely be careful with the wheel brake used today. Okay, we have two K21s on the booking system with instructors and students. So the K21 booked by club members, K13 booked by club members. Casual list requiring instructors, please. I've got 1.5 instructors have volunteered for that, so thank you very much. All remaining two-seaters are free. SH3, SH8 and SH9 are booked. If we can get SH8 out, I do need to do a quick air test first thing because it's just come out the workshop. We're going to set up on 27. It's going to be a wet operation. I'll explain that more in a minute. Taking off on the runway, landing short on the runway, or if that area is full, because we can only really get one glider width on the runway, then you will have to land on the grass north or south. Watch out for misting canopies. Sunset at about 20 to 6 tonight. Remind about the buggies, please, and also the buggies on the grass. Going to be really, really careful. And any form of acceleration, you're just going to dig up the airfield. I cannot overemphasize how important it is today to protect our grass. So, setup then. I've added another couple of errors on this today. There's a Tomahawk parked right in the wrong way, which is going to be going in a minute. But to get the gliders out, the best route is going to be straight south just to the edge of the runway, and this grass here about 20-30 meters into the north side of the runway is clear, or even down the runway edge if you wish. Winch will be set up, taken off on the runway south, and it's further up the field today because of the wet operation, so that we can land behind it, and the winch is going to be in the usual place down the far end of the airfield. Now, priority for preferable for landing is going to be on the runway short. Okay, we've moved everything up the field a little bit, but as I mentioned earlier, you can only really get one glider there. You can't have two coming in parallel, and they're going to be far too close. So if you do land on the runway, please land further up, roll further up if you can. If there's room behind, please do so. Otherwise, you're going to have to land on grass north or south. Okay, it's just common sense. Okay, so as a reminder, please, towing gliders out off the little track where all gliders are stacked up. Go due south. It is wet in this area here. Just go due south, dead straight line, and then turn west as you get closer to the runway or on the runway edge, and then go down the side of the runway to the launch point. And we'll set up the launch point as soon as these aircraft have departed, but I will get the launch point nearer. I'll settle it over around about here until the movement has gone. Unfortunately, we can't tow the gliders to a similar place because this lot is just a quagmire on that bit of grass there. Okay, so if we could get the gliders out and ready, please. I will get the launch point vehicle prepped to be on around 2-3, waiting for the movements to go, and then we'll plonk onto the runway and start our operations. See you shortly. Bye.